Top of the evening, friends, and welcome to Truth Noir. We're doing a little bit of a one-off tonight, mainly because sometimes the truth is a little bit of a downer, and we talk about all the stuff that's wrong in the world, but tonight I wanted to talk about something that's so right, and that is beer. Turns out, I'm not just joking around, beer actually saved the world and civilization at large so that, people like me and these fine gentlemen here could, be here speaking about all this other stuff. So let's go ahead and get right to it. I want to introduce for the both of them, actually, for the first time in a long time. First off, Vince Eckert, who was the first official guest host of the first official episode of Truth Noir back 7 or 8 months ago.
Howdy, everybody.
He went away for a while. He's back. He hosts his own show on Dronebox called The Vince Show because he's a narcissist.
That's true. I love to talk about myself. It's funny that we're even talking about anything else in this episode.
And also, on my far left, you're right, joined once again on this show by Adam Papagan, who I think even to this day has co-hosted the most episodes of Truth Noir with me, and we've always had a fun time, one or both or all of us in combination talking about weird shit. So welcome back to it. Thanks for being on my show again, everyone.
Thank you, Norm.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, you guys, I wanted to, we're all about facts on the show, or at least facsimiles of them.
Absolutely.
And
Veritas. Truth, my man.
Veritas, Vince here is a Harvard-educated man. I didn't know this.
It's true.
I didn't know this at first, but yeah, man. So we have actual scholars here talking about some of this stuff with you. And tonight, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more lighthearted. And what's more lighthearted brings more levity to the soul, the cause and solution of all of life's problems, beer. So yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. And yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on beer? We'll toss it to Adam first.
I love beer. I really do. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
sometimes if you drink too much, you get a stomach ache.
Oh,
but don't drink too much.
Yeah, man.
Not the beer's fault.
That's it.
Gotta learn moderation at some point in your life.
Yeah.
It's difficult though because the
beer
beer is so good.
Helps you, but it helps you learn it.
That's true.
That's a great thing about beer.
Absolutely, beer. Vince, what are your favorite experiences with beer?
Well, believe it or not, I love to drink it. I mean, that's the best way to consume it, I think. But I also like occasionally cooking with the beer.
Sure.
You can use it.
It has culinary applications as well.
It's true. Symbolically, it's a little bit of freedom in a can. You crack this fine Pabst Blue Ribbon, and it's as if you can be a different person for a little while.
Yeah, and it's just, and I think a symptom of pilsners and other light lagers, they're just super refreshing. And as it turns out, they took the place of water quite frequently at many points in time during early human history.
And why was that?
Well, as I've heard it told, and it kind of makes sense, when you think about water, you may take it for granted these days because you just turn a knob and clean water comes out of a pipe that is safe to drink, unless, of course, you're a resident of like Flint, Michigan, or there's certain areas. Sometimes they're large areas like parts of Africa and Southeast Asia, and that's a bummer. But it wasn't always that way, where like most of the civilized world had clean drinking water. A lot of times, the area that you were born in, you just kind of got used to the water in that area. It had bacteria in it, it had whatever, but you were able to drink it because that's what your system got used to. You and all of your neighbors. But if you went somewhere else, it would give you, what we call today maybe like the Tijuana trots.
Ah, yeah.
Or, because the bacteria...
Diarrhea, the giant amoeba.
Yeah. The water over there had different bacteria, different stuff in it, and it would make you sick. And so a great equalizing factor in the ancient world was the brewing of beer. It was a way to sterilize water because of its alcohol content, and it was also a way to preserve carbohydrates. A lot of times early brewers would make beer by introducing water and stale bread with yeast and hops and whatever else.
Sure.
And it would create beer. So it was a way kind of to preserve food in liquid form. And when you didn't have a ready food supply, you could drink beer and it would give you a little carb boost.
Now, there's a long-standing rumor that you could get by simply by drinking Guinness. Have you heard that before?
Yes, because it's thick and it's got like fish in it and stuff, right?
Somehow it's supposed to meet all nutritional standards, very basic ones. But I don't know if that's true. Is that something we can bust on the program?
I've heard that said too, that there are certain beers that still, maybe not all of them.
You don't think you can live on PBR alone?
I could definitely live on PBR alone.
I do.
Oh, okay.
Adam, the testimonial to how you can actually exist solely on beer. I come pretty close. I know I certainly used to in the past, but moderation being what it is, I eat other stuff now too.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I eat actual bread.
Oh, but without all the water and yeast.
Grudgingly,
yeah, of course.
But yeah, no, I've heard that said also that well-made beer is actually kind of naturally fortified with some of the vitamin content and nutritional value of its original constituent ingredients. So, yeah, A+ for beer.
Yeah.
It was also people were paid wages in beer.
Is that right? Classically, people were paid in salt, right? The salary,
Sure.
As it were.
Yeah. In certain areas where salt was plentiful, it was more valuable than gold at times. And so, actually, for a little bit of non-beer related history, the term salary comes from the Latin word salarium, meaning salt. And the phrase, someone being worth their salt, came about because someone who worked real hard got paid more salt than someone else.
Or more beer in this case.
And so when we get to, it's usually when you have naval fleets.
Okay.
Sailing ships.
They're carting a lot of beer around?
A lot of times, the crew of the boat had a certain allotment of, it was usually either rum or beer. And so, and that's where you get the term like the drunken sailor.
Oh, I see.
And the song of the same name asking, what do you do with a drunken sailor?
That's a good question. What do you do with the drunken sailor?
Put him in bed with the captain's daughter.
Tie him up to the yardarm is what I've heard.
Oh, man.
I don't know what that means, but...
There's differing opinions here. We need to bring these.
Well, he can do a lot.
Well, and it turns out they're all in the same song.
Oh, wow.
You put him in bed with the captain's daughter, tie him up to the yardarm sailor, slap him around till he sobers up or some such. There's a million verses to that song, and they are all hilarious. But yeah, so with regards to beer being a wage, sometimes the ocean voyages would take way too long, and the beer would go bad, and the sailors started getting pissed and, causing mutinies because
They didn't want any more stale beer.
they weren't getting paid anymore, basically, because these voyages would last months.
Sure,
and
sure.
months, and if you were calling at a port where there wasn't a beer supply available, you had to take enough beer with you for both, for your whole round trip. And so, where we get into certain genres of beer, the India Pale Ale, which is
A classic.
a true classic, and it's one that has recently in America, with the advent of craft brewing, come to replace the pilsner. And the reason for that is the beer would go bad, and so they had to find a way to keep the beer fresh longer, and so they upped the alcohol content.
You've gone dark.
I have. It's a quick fix. We'll get back to it in a second.
Dark, like India Pale Ale.
Yeah,
Is darker.
pale ales are a little bit darker, and so it's not just a production accident, folks. We did that shit on purpose. Good job, Adam. For dramatic effect. So what they would do is they added more hops to it, they added more yeast, and what it did was it created a more bitter ale, but it was also higher in alcohol content, and therefore it would stay fresh longer for the purposes of making it the whole way back.
That makes sense.
And yeah, when you have angry sailors that will string their captain up if he doesn't give them their beer share, and eventually in some areas beer was replaced with rum, presumably for the same reason, because of its way higher.
Yeah,
alcohol
sure.
content. You didn't have to worry about it going bad.
Plus, there's that whole triangle trade stuff going on, right?
Sure.
Molasses leaving from the United States,
Yes.
and going to
African.
Yeah, they had sugar plantations. Cane sugar lends itself better to making rum than beer, and so that was an aspect of it too. Beer facilitated very many more people staying alive than they otherwise would have, and able to therefore
It's
travel.
not just a disco song.
It's not. It's really not just a disco song.
Everyone has to stay alive.
Yeah, because otherwise we wouldn't be here.
Oh, that's true.
The Black Death might just have wiped out humanity, and I mean this sincerely. It might just have wiped out humanity if it weren't for alcohol. Its sterilizing qualities, its ability to get introduced into a living system and kill bacteria.
And of course, the little bit of hope that comes in each serving.
Yeah, hope and courage and a fair dose of just not giving a shit.
Yep. All antidote to the Black Death.
And yeah, we have this guy. And now I would say if he's not a server, bringing all that beer to many.
You don't think that's just pose? You don't think that's a pose picture?
Well, if it's not, I'd say that guy's maybe going a little overboard, which we don't like to endorse here on the show.
I know. I mean, just bring one at a time, right? Or geez, two at a time.
I say moderation in all things, except for when it comes to truth, of course.
you can never OD on that.
And freedom, because this is America.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, if you don't drink to freedom, you might just be a communist.
That's true.
Let's see, what else? Yeah, so sticking with history a little bit more, the great brewing traditions that come out of monasteries in Europe, Belgian beer specifically, maintains this fairly ancient tradition.
Is that the Trappist, or is that a different sect?
The Trappist monks are the ones that are still brewing today.
Okay.
But any of the monasteries along the old pilgrimage routes also served as hotels or hostels, basically. These were places where people could rest, they could sleep, they could have a meal.
And a beer.
And a beer. And it was one of those things where, like we were talking about before, if they were just drinking the local well water, there would have been much more instance of people getting sick because they weren't used to that supply.
Sure.
So those beers took a great deal of variety in different forms. Every monastery had their own kind of take on beer that survives to this day, so good job, Belgians. The traditions that came over to America were largely from Germany, and that's where you have, pilsners that originally came over to America. Not only Pabst, but Miller, Coors.
I mean, that's like the core American beers, a pilsner, or sometimes a lager, I guess.
Absolutely. And when you think of, like, when we were kids, what dominated, the grocery store shelves as far as beer,
It's all the big,
pilsners.
Yeah, it's true. Sort of big brewery, corporatized beer.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and they quenched America's thirst for quite a long time, until you had like more craft brewers coming about, probably within like the last 30 years or something.
Yeah, what's up with that? How come in the last, I think even since in the years that I've been old enough to drink, the last couple of years, I've seen way more of these like darker beers, these kinds of beers I've never heard of.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of a mystery to me. Grateful for it because it's really expanded my horizons as far as appreciating different kinds of beer. But yeah, a lot of these beers were not available. I think maybe distribution lightened up a little bit. But yeah, that we'd have to have an actual beer expert, not just a,
We're all beer experts here.
Well, no, we're beer enthusiasts.
Oh, I see.
It's an interest.
We have to go post on the beer forums to get a better perspective on this. What is the history of the darker brews? We should ask.
Well, they're more toasted.
Oh, I see.
It's many times the same or very similar ingredients, but toastier malt, more hops, things of that nature would contribute to usually a little bit higher alcohol content because you're caramelizing the sugars and making them more available to the yeast.
There's different strains of yeast, right?
That's very true also. There's champagne yeast, and that's where you get like the very fine carbonations in not only champagne, but certain like Grand Cru.
Grand Cru?
Yeah, they're just very champagne-y tasting beers, usually a little bit higher alcohol content.
Interesting. I'm not sure I've had that one before.
They're fun.
Well, I could always go for a fun beer.
Yeah, well, they're all fun, but it's just a much finer, like almost like a champagne-y, tickle your nose kind of carbonation. And then...
I know what I'm going to be doing later after the show, everybody.
Yeah, indulging in some more...
champagne yeast.
Salvation.
Exactly.
Salvation of civilization.
That's true.
So I had a couple other little things regarding beer. We'll leave our friend with the...
Somebody should help them.
Yeah.
So let's see.
He could drop all those. That'd be tragic.
Pennsylvania.
That's that's a very... that picture looked a lot better on my computer. But yeah, we were talking about IPAs a little bit earlier and the history of that. This one was a fun one. This is beer consumption by country in various parts of the world.
Interesting. They're not drinking a lot of beer in Southeast Asia, huh?
It's kind of odd. But I think it's more countries that have like a strong brewing tradition or...
Well, or it could just be no data. Maybe there's just no data on their beer
Yeah.
consumption.
That could be, or maybe the local alcohol of choice is liquor.
Yeah.
Or, some kind of local preparation.
What's that one country in Africa that isn't South Africa that's got it?
I'm thinking Ivory Coast.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but
Is that a country anymore?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
all
they
right.
just declared independence like 10 or 15 years ago. But
Congrats to the Ivory Coast.
Russia.
Yeah, Russia. That if it were, I think if it were vodka consumption, Russia would be like black or like dark purple or something like that. But as far as beer goes, it's just a good solid light blue.
Australia is really keeping it real.
Yeah. Well,
And beer's expensive there.
Is that true?
Well, everything's expensive in Australia.
But not in terms not for the people who live there, right? Or is it,
Yeah, because minimum wage is like $20.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
that makes
it's-
sense.
Yeah.
So they have the same like purchasing power as like everybody, but it's,
Hey, try being an American.
But if you
want
go
to
there-
catch a buzz in Australia, it's gonna cost you.
Well, Adam, it's just stronger incentive to, maybe if you work hard and really apply yourself, maybe, just maybe, one day we might be able to, go and get drunk in Australia.
it'll send you on a one-way trip.
Godspeed the day.
Drink to that.
So let's see.
It
what else?
used to be that you could just do something dastardly and they send you off to Australia. And now you have to pay an arm and a leg.
Oh, the times. Let's see. Iceland. You know what, man? There's an airline starting up here in June, I believe, that's offering $99 flights
Oh, I saw that.
to Iceland. And
then you can go on to continental Europe if you like.
Yeah, and it seems like they drink a little bit of beer in Iceland.
Oh yeah.
Good job, fellas. And they also
It's dark there most of the year, isn't it?
only in the wintertime. And it's only 6 months out of the year. You go during the summer. And if you go to Iceland in the summer, the wintertime,
Okay.
you can stand on a snow-covered mountain and watch a volcano erupt whilst also watching the northern lights.
Wow.
I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights.
Yeah, man.
I only want to see them while volcanoes erupting. So this is perfect for me.
Yeah, I say we go this summer. Let's all save up $99.
But I thought you said you had to do it in the winter.
Yeah, we'll go in the summer and
Just stay.
check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then,
Just
and
stay
then
through.
we could go back. It's only $99.
It's true. It's true. It costs as much to get to Vegas.
True. Yeah, man. It's ridiculous. Let's see what else we got here.
They'll probably drink a lot of beer there.
Oh, so here's a little graphic of
Paramount.
one of the main. Yes, well, there's a movie happening in the background.
But in the front, there's some hops. Although they kind of just look like weed nugs.
It turns out that hops and the marijuana are actually cousins of each
Oh,
other.
that makes sense.
But yeah,
Like by marriage or like for like first cousins by blood.
I'm gonna say first cousins by blood, judging only on the amount of joy that they each individually bring to the world at large.
In the olden days, they could get married. Not today, though. People frown on that stuff.
Legalize it.
Well, there are a few brewers that make hemp ale.
Oh, interesting.
So that marriage has become complete. So there's sometimes when incest is awesome.
Now that's some truth.
Let's see. Let's keep going, shall we? So there's
A stylized Pilsner logo.
Pilsner. That's what we're drinking.
Who made that?
I think
that
that's,
B is incredibly
I
pompous.
think that's another brand of beer that also makes Pilsner.
Somebody shipping with Pilsner.
Not only, and I'm not sure which one came first, but not only do the Germans have a great Pilsner tradition, but also the Czech people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's a few fantastic ones that come from there. I'm sure they argue about which one invented the Pilsner, like the rest of Europe argues about who invented the French fry.
Well, that one's obvious.
Yeah, America.
Sweet.
No, America.
Yep,
Yeah,
true.
America.
I think America invented the freedom fry.
Pabst Blue Ribbon invented the French fry. Thanks, Pabst.
Yeah, fuck it. Pabst gets credit for the French fry because none of you fuckers can agree.
Red, white, and blue. Oh, yeah.
All right, moving right along. Oh, we're back to our friend there.
Oh, there we go in Pennsylvania again.
All right, so back to that. So you guys,
How is he carrying all those cups?
because he's an Ubermensch.
Oh, I see.
That's why.
What we don't see in the picture is the Untermensch holding him up. The underman, if you will.
Oh yeah, the Underman.
Yeah, if you ever read Nietzsche, the Untermensch was the basically everyone that Zarathustra came across was fuck, I don't know.
Zarathustra.
It's been a while
Has
since I've read
anybody
it.
have we explored Zarathustrianism on Truth and War yet?
No, man. You down?
Yeah, there's another
Dude.
episode.
Yeah, no, we got to get you on the show more often, Vince.
Agreed.
Adam, you need to get back on every once in a while too. I've been doing way too many like end of the world stuff, and it bums me out. So yeah, think of a funny concept that is true nonetheless, but
Okay.
that's not gonna
Is there any truth to the rumor that the 6th Street Bridge is closing because of Truth Noir?
I certainly hope that's not true. I'm not sure if I did anything directly.
Because it's very convenient that one starts happening and then the other takes place, right?
Within less than a year.
It's there seems to be a connection, to the even the skeptical observer.
Well, yeah, no, well, and it's one of those stop believing in coincidences, folks. If you wanna blame the closing and I think future demolition of the 6th Street Bridge on me,
Rest in peace.
do
That was
so.
a good bridge.
Do so by all means, but
One of the best.
Please prove it. I'm available for interviews. You're welcome to view my archive of past Truth Noir episodes.
Somebody's gonna put
evidence of
together.
this.
Somebody's gonna put together some, like a confession from you, just from your past episodes of Truth Noir.
Well, I was thinking about doing a Truth Noir debunked and then hosting it myself.
Oh, all right.
I like that.
Go back to all the things that you may have been wrong about in the past.
Like the Berenstain Bears.
Oh no! Is that did you cover the Bernstein Bears in the previous show?
Yeah, me and Adam did. It was
What?
actually one of the most viewed Truth Noir episodes.
What happened? What did the Bears do?
Well, Vince, it's not that the Bears did anything. What happened was we entered an alternate dimension where those people that wrote those books spell their name a different way.
How did they spell it?
Berenstain, S-T-A-I-N, which is just
Oh.
nonsense. There is no surname in the English language that's spelled that way. It's horseshit.
So it was a pseudonym. Who was the real Stan and Jan
No,
Bernstein?
every-
Bernstein.
Everybody thought, nobody realized it was spelled with an A. Or we entered a parallel universe.
Oh, okay.
That
I'm going for parallel universe, man.
Wow.
Personally.
Is this proof that we're in a simulation?
no, I think it's proof that people don't pay attention.
Yeah, no, I think the proof that this is
It's in the pudding.
a simulation is the fact that actual scientists have looked down so far with their microscopes and their number smarts and been like, hey, you know what? Down at the very core levels of reality, nothing's quite there. And so they've come to the conclusion, and this is real science, mind you, not just, the movie, that...
Weird Science. No.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Weird Science, Real Genius. That was the one with Val Kilmer.
What about The Computer Wears Tennis Shoes with Kurt Russell? That was a great one.
Yeah.
Now you're just being silly, man. But they've said that, like, at that fundamental level, reality appears to be holographic. And so yeah, man, I'm going to stick to my alternate universe Berenstein Bear hypothesis. And, I think time and science will prove me right on it.
Wow.
If I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to retract it on the show. I've had to do that a couple times because I've gotten a little ahead of myself. But
Sure. Well,
right now,
it's beautiful that you're willing to admit when you're wrong. I mean, that's what sets this show, Truth Noir, apart from all those other television news shows. You know,
like Fox.
Yeah,
The whole of the Fox News Network.
CNN. I mean, do you think Anderson Cooper 360 is coming out with this stuff? He doesn't even know who the Bernstein Bears are.
No, and I think it's one of those things where, and I don't want to put myself, in the
Up
midst
yours,
of,
Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah, I think that that real journalism has kind of been lost these days, and the people that we see on the news reading copy, they didn't research that shit themselves.
Yeah, I know it, man.
People talking like they actually looked something up. It's like, no, you're a monkey reading copy.
They've never heard of Bernie Sanders before, but they're still telling you about the Iowa results.
Yeah, the 6 coin tosses in a row.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? That's a 1 in 64 chance, right? That's not real. How is that real?
Yeah, well, it's not. It's statistically highly unlikely.
Yeah, well, it's what is it, 1.58%?
Yeah, my statistical.
I have to redo those numbers.
That was high
somewhere
school
in there.
math. It was a little fuzzy for me. Anyways, you guys.
4 choose 4.
The what?
It's 1 in 64 chance.
Yeah, which is really low. So, on that note, we're running out of time, as we always do, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
Yeah, because reality sucks. I wish we could just, sit here forever and bullshit, because I like you guys. And I like drinking this fine Pilsner.
I like you too, Norm.
Yeah, ditto.
This is a great show and a good PBR.
So,
Pils Noir.
I like that, man. I don't know if I'm ready to change the name of this show yet.
Well, we'll see if we get the sponsor.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Here's to it. So, we're out, you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us from the beginning. And to both of you. You guys have both come in a pinch more times than one, and it means a lot to me. So, to all the rest of you out there, I love you. And I've only had 1.5 of these, so you know that shit's for real. I'm not just saying it. So take care, peace out, and wherever you're going, get there safe. See you next time.
Farewell.